Good morning, everybody. How are you? So, people who are joining online, can you hear me? Hello? So,
Yes, we can hear you.
okay, thank you. So, I see only about 10 people are joining face to face, and how many of you are about 30 are joining online. So, if you do not have any background noise in your side, you can keep your microphone open, unmuted, okay? But if there is any background noise in your side, please keep yourself muted. Okay, so let us start our lecture today. Sorry, we are a few minutes late today. So, as usual, let us see our schedule. So, according to our schedule, so we are on this week, September 28 into. Oh, thank you. So, I'm sorry, that is the problem. Give me 1 second, please. I don't see any problem here. I see it is 1. And UIT base. The system is here. Actually, the projector is not working. There is no problem from my side. Hey, good morning. My name is Mokhtar Hussain. I'm a faculty. So I teach, and I'm teaching right now in Gymnasium 010. So the main projector is not working. Yeah, Gymnasium 010. The main projector is not working. So my class is going on. Is it possible that you can send someone quickly in this room? The large screen projector is not working. Okay. So in this week, right, October week 6, we are going on. So we are discussing repetition structure, and we completed that, and we started one-dimensional array. Okay. So in our last lecture, I completed one-dimensional array. So if I go here, open recent, review, one-dimensional array. Okay. So in our last lecture, we discussed that an array is a list. That is a kind of set. Okay, a set is a collection of similar objects. Okay, but a list may contain duplicate elements, but a set does not. That is the main difference between a set and the concept of array came from list or set. Okay. So we implement list by in array. So, but in some languages like Python's or like functional languages, still it is called list. Okay, but we will say an array. This is an array. So we discussed in our last lecture how to declare an array. So how do I know that this is an array? Just by seeing a square bracket, a pair of square bracket. If we see a pair of square bracket, then we see that this is an array. Okay. So in our last lecture, we discussed how to declare an array, and mainly we started with properties of an array. So arrays, indexes, values. So array is when you declare an array, so there are some memory cells, consecutive memory cells that are bind by to the name of the array. So here, if you say my array, so then if we say my array that it has 0 to 6, that means 7 slots or memory slots. These slots depend on the data type of the arrays. Okay, so if my array is integer type, then each of these slot cell will take 4 consecutive bytes. Okay, but these are the if these are byte type, then it will take one byte. If this my array type is a boolean type, then so like a character type, then each of this cell will take 1 character. So, but if my array is a long type, okay, then each of the cell will take for long type, we know that it takes 8 consecutive bytes, right? So each of this cell will take 8 consecutive bytes. So how many bytes are there in this array? It depends on what is the type of this array. Okay, so but we know that for now we know that it has 7 consecutive cells. So in computer, in modern languages, array indices start with 0. This is the cell number. In programming terminology, we call it index, an index value. Okay, so index start always with 0. And the last index, it goes to the number that is the length minus 1. So in this array, there are 7 cells. That means maximum 7 elements can be put in this array. So the last cell index will be 7 minus 1 equal to 6. And you see these are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All are consecutive. Okay. So in our last lecture, we discussed array, how to create or declare an array. This is in pseudocode format, but we discuss also how to declare an array in Java and C#, and also in C++. So Java and C# there is a little bit different than in C++. Okay, so you need to be familiar with this. So in this case, my array will be an empty array, but in this case, my array will not be an empty. Those will be initial cells will be initialized by this value. Okay, and we discussed how to access array elements. An efficient way is to use loop control statement. For more frequently, we use while for loop. Okay, to access array. So remember that. So if we say my array, it takes 50 elements. 50 is length, then the 49 will be the last index, and first index will be 0. So 0 to 49 is 50, and if we say my array 3 within square bracket, so here this side, here it says my array 50. If we say the create left side or data type in the left side, that means that is the declaration of this array. Okay, it means that this array it has 50 size or length. But here you say, if you say my array 3 equal to 12, so that means if it is in left side of the assignment operator, that means we are using that in an expression or a statement. So this means this indicates a specific cell of this array, a location. Okay, so this means index is 3, that is 4th element of this array. So what is the 4th element locator? So this element is 0, then 1, 2, and 3. So then whenever we say my array 3 equal to 12, so 12 will go to the location where it is index 3. Okay. So if we say my array 49, so you can say this arrow symbol, this means assignment operator. Still you can use this backward, or you can use equal sign. So that means it will go, the 12 will go all the way last element here, last location here. But we discussed that we cannot say here my array 50. What is the reason that? It will go out of index, right?
There's only 49. Yeah.
Yes, the maximum here we can go 49. So this is the main thing you need to remember. Okay, so please figure out a technique by yourself so that you can remember that for any array, so whenever what is the length, with the maximum position we can go length -1. We cannot go to the length. So here the length is 50, that we cannot go 50. We do not have any cell. 50th cell is, this is 50th cell. Okay, so if we say 50 over here 50, that means that will mean actually 51th cell. Okay, so that is the thing that, like, many people actually still we do mistake, and if we do that kind of mistake, the program will crash, or it will, if you do exception handling, then it will handle except, but that is called a common exception, that is called a common mistake or error in program, that is called array out of bound index error. Okay, so please give attention to there. And this is the very frequent way we can say we can assign value, and this is the, again, this is the last, this is wrong, right? We cannot have this, because for this my array we say 5, that means we can maximum have 4 index over here. Okay, so we discussed this in our last lecture. So especially we saw that how do we use for loop to init access this. This is the length -1. So you cannot say length over here 2. If you use 2, that means equal sign. Okay, that is the thing you need to remember, please. Okay, please try figure out your own way. How do you remember it? Okay, so in this the slide, it will show you what will happen if we execute this code line by line. So this, I like you to go through the slides. So in our last lecture, I went through the slides and I showed how this this looping work. So has anyone here any question? That we discussed the initial loop, like array decoration and traversing an array. Okay, so for loop is widely used. Okay, and remember that if you use length over here, then you need to use less than sign. You cannot use less than and or equal. So if you give equal sign over here, then you must say length -1 over here. So there's a trade-off. Okay, so if you use this way -1, then it is fine. If you use equal sign over here, then you must use this minus sign. Okay, but if you do not, so this is a kind of headache, right? So that may have mistake to do -1, right? So better, easiest way, do not use -1, do not use equal sign, and then you do not need to use -1. Easiest way. Okay, so it will go through all the elements, because the starting elements is 0, index is 0. And in most programming languages, modern programming languages, there is called for each loop. So for is widely used, and we are familiar with this, but there is a for loop. It is mainly used for object type array. So by the end of this course, you will learn about object. So for instance, if you say my data storage is an array, so we say int t in we pronounce that in. Okay, but in some languages, this, so that means we said T is an int type. That means this array contains integer type value. We assume that. Okay, so that means we pronounce T in this data storage array for each. Okay, whatever we want to do, we need to do, we can do it here. Okay. So in our last lecture, I gave you some homework, right? Maybe two or three programs. Anyone had a chance to? You did? Okay, two people. Anyone? Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, so if you do practice, then you will be benefited, more benefited than me. Okay. Okay, so in our last lecture, we went through this program and then we discussed that we discussed that today maybe we will discuss how to find the minimum or maximum element of an array. Okay, so smallest elements. So this is the program I asked you to practice, like how to find the minimum element of an array. Okay, so it says using a method. It's actually not using method. We are not familiar with array method yet. So okay, we are not familiar with method yet, but next week we will go through method. But for now, let's see. So this is the, in this slide we discuss how to implement an array. So one thing that an array contains similar data, some values, okay? Only same similar type, not heterogeneous type, okay? So if you declare an array, it contains only integer type. Integer type array, it will contain only integer or compatible type. Okay, so by saying compatible type, I mean, for instance, we know that, for instance, we have our integer type. How many bytes it takes in an integer type variable? Can anyone please tell me how many bytes an integer type takes? 4 bytes. So integer type takes 4 consecutive memory bytes. Okay, integer type takes 4 consecutive memory bytes. So that we know that there is also byte type in Java and then in C#. So byte type takes only one byte memory space. Okay, and we know that there is another type that is called short. Short type takes 2 consecutive bytes. Okay, so integer, that means 4 bytes. Byte takes 1 byte and short takes 2 bytes. Okay, so then if so you see that byte type is a subset of both short type and integer type, right? You see that byte type, this portion is overlapping with both short type. Short has this length from here to here. Okay, just 1 byte, 2 byte, 3 bytes, 4 bytes. So byte type, it overlaps with both short type and integer type, and short type it overlaps with integer type, right? So every byte type variable data is also an integer type or a short type, and every short type is also an integer type but may not be a byte type. You understand? So the range, we know that the range, so here for byte type range it goes, so for minus 128 to positive 127, including 0. Values goes this way. Okay. And then it is 2 byte, then 3 to 7. Okay, so for 2 bytes, that means actually here actually 2 to the power 8. Okay, and here so 2 to the power 16. And here for this one 2 to the power 32. Okay, so I am saying that for an array of integer type, it takes data only integer type or compatible type. Compatible means byte type is compatible with integer and short type is compatible with integer, right? But for a byte type array, integer is may not be compatible. It's not compatible because all integer values are not byte. There are larger integer values. Those are integer type but not byte type. So as in general, we can see that all male, okay, all boys or male are human being, right? But not all human being are boy or like some of them are girl, right? And on the other way, all girls are human being, but or not all human beings are girl. There are some boys. Okay, you can remember that way. Has anyone any question so far? Okay. So people who are joining online, has anyone any question?
Not yet.
Okay, thank you. So when you declare an array, we need to remember that.
We asked the question, actually, Professor.
Yes.
They asked how many bytes in a long.
Okay, in long has 8 bytes. So let me do a quick search. Say with Java and same thing, Java data types. Data types and range. So if you do a Google search like this, Java data type and range, there is something for other languages, C++ and C#. So you see that byte, it takes 1 byte. So minimum range is, do you see my screen over here? It is smaller. You see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So this is the, for if you declare it a variable at byte type, the maximum value you can hold here is 127. Minimum value you can put minus 120 and including 0 also. Okay, so this is the range from negative 128 to positive 127 including 0. The short type, it takes 2 bytes, so the range is negative 32786 to 32767. Actually this value, if I had to have time, you see, if you say compatible, actually this value negative 20, negative 2 to the power 28 to last one it gives 2 to the power 8 minus 1. And there is similar calculation. I'm not going to in depth to this, okay? So, and so here you see that for short type, this is the negative range including 0 and it goes positive this. And for integer type, this is the negative lowest amount and this is the this is whole number highest amount. And for the byte long type, it takes 8 consecutive bytes. So this is the maximum value you can put and this is the minimum value. Okay, maybe in future we will need more another data type, but not now. So maybe people right now are dealing or thinking to deal with only this maximum number. Okay, I don't know how do it pronounce or read it. Okay, but there is a way definitely, but that is not our part to learn here. So are you happy? Are you okay with my answer?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and so if you go, so if you click here, 4 more rows, there are 4 more rows for other data types. So for float type and then double type, character and boolean. Okay, so this page should be a good resource. There are many pages that you just do a Google search, you can see this page. Sorry, there are a lot of resources online. Okay, in our slide we should have on this. In your book you have this chart. Okay, so now if we have done this, then let us go to our next slide. That will be our resource page. Lecture slides.
Quick question, Professor.
Yes.
Do you know exactly all was going to be on the quiz this week?
There's a quiz this week, right? That
Yeah.
is posted in D12. So what are you asking? What is your question, please?
What modules are going to be on the quiz, or like what have you taught that's going to be on the quiz?
Okay, that is a good question. Maybe the quiz, does the quiz says what module? Okay, so mainly it should be repetition and selection.
Okay.
But when we discuss repetition and selection, you know that, or we also need to use previous knowledge, right? Right? Previous knowledge, how to declare a variable, how to use other operators, right? We
Yeah.
need, so we cannot skip, we cannot say that so we cannot say that completely, what is that called? Completely our quiz or test question will be limited to selection or repetition structure. Because we have to use previous knowledge. Okay, so now we will start module 4 part 2. So we have 30 more minutes, and I hope we will have a good startup within this 30 minutes. Okay. Let me save it. First. So module 2 is actually we will create an array, and is this the same thing I'm discussing? Give me 1 second, please. So no, I'm confusing. Okay. This one I should have module 5. I'm sorry, we should have module 5. Okay, so I clicked on the wrong. Yeah, module 5. So we'll start module 5. So we have 30 more minutes, okay? Starting. Okay. So in our last lecture, I gave you homework to search for the minimum element, lowest element of an integer array, right? For instance, so if you try that program, then you say that in our array, we frequently search for a specific element. For instance, the minimum element or the maximum element or the average element or the elements that lie between in a range, okay, or a specific element. That is called searching process. And there are a lot of algorithms or processes to find the target element efficiently. Okay, and when you know this, later we will learn the concept of sorting. Sorting means rearranging or arranging the elements of an array in a specific order, like from ascending order. That means starting from the smallest number and going to the larger number, and all the way end will be the largest number. Okay, that is called sorting algorithm. Okay, so there are many sorting algorithms. Sorting algorithms are quite difficult, complex than the searching algorithm. So there are a lot of research are still going on how to develop efficient sorting algorithms that will be quick and fast, especially for handling large data. For instance, in the USA, a census is going on, right? Current census 2020 is going on, right? There are millions of more than 300 million people's data are being stored, right? Personal information. Everybody has many information, their life story, all information, height, weight, like eye color, right? Race, like what is that called? Name, father name, mother name, date of birth, social security number, address, maybe previous addresses, previous 5 addresses, a lot of information, right? So how much data it takes for only to save only one person's life history or the like regular attributes or properties, about 20, 30 variables, right? 30, 40, 50 variables. Then how many variables it takes for the census database, for instance, of more than 300 millions people, a lot, right? So then now, if the government of an agency wants to find a specific person's data, then it may be found at the beginning of the top of the list, or they may need to search all the way in, right? So it takes time. And it will be more difficult, how about if they want to put the data in an ascending or descending order, so that or ascending order, the people who are little baby that born yesterday will be put in the top, and then all the way in the very oldest person will be on the bottom. Okay, so that will be very difficult. That is called sorting algorithm. Okay, so a lot of research are going on. Still, a lot of computer scientists are doing research how to develop efficient algorithm for these purposes, for sorting and searching, especially for sorting. Okay, so in this week and next week, we will learn some searching algorithm, and mainly two linear search algorithm and three sorting algorithm: bubble sort, insertion sort, and selection sort. Okay, so let us start with linear search algorithm. So you are familiar with linear. If you tried my last homework that I asked you to practice, find the minimum element, then you are familiar with the linear searching algorithm. Okay, in the linear searching algorithm, what we do, we start from an array from the beginning. At least we start to search an element from the beginning of an array with index 0, we may be lucky enough to find our target value at the beginning, or in most cases we are not lucky. At least as we say half of the cases, and never as half of the cases we are not lucky. Okay, that is called, we may find our target element all the way end, okay, or somewhere at middle point. Okay, or in case we do not find the array element, right, still we have to search all the way end before we confirm that the element does not exist, right? So that is called the linear searching process, that we start from the beginning of an array and we go until we find the element targeted value, or we end all the way end to our list of array, right? So this is a very common process. So as a human being, we are familiar with this. We usually do this. So for instance, if you have a number of books in a shelf, okay, maybe not organized, inorganized in any order. So if you need a book, you will find that at the very first. So just think of close your eyes and find a book, and then when you get the book, then open it, right? And you will find your target book, or you may not. But if you do not find it, you may need to look at the next one, right? So all the way you may need to see all of the books. The last book may be your targeted book, or the book may not be there. So in that case, you can say that is not there, but still you have to go through all the way in, right? Until you go all the way in, you cannot confirm that it does not exist. So in the worst case is that we have to, if my array size is n, then we have to go all the way in. So this is why you say the efficiency of searching linear search algorithm is big O(n). Whenever you take your algorithm class, you will learn what is called big O. Here is a big O. How to say with efficiency or big O notation. Okay, you will learn that. Okay, so that means here, for remember that we are searching for all, for worst case, all elements. Okay, so linear search algorithm is very simple, and as we know that, for instance, we have a list, say name is G for my list, and we have a target value, okay, and we can say flag, that is a boolean value, say is in the list or not. So okay, so what we will do for each element in the item, each element temp, for instance, we say temp is the element in list G. If my temp, that element is equal to my targeted value, then we say is in list or is found is true. Initially we will say is found is false, but if we find that is match, then we will change that flag. We say flag that is true. Then we will do that. So then if it later is say if in list is true, then we can say that our element is found. Okay. So this is the simple process we do in our life. So this is one way to find linear search, but there is another alternative way or alternative algorithm to do that. For instance, instead of is list is boolean, we can say counter variable integer type. Initially counter variable is 0, we can assign. If you find a match, then you can increment your counter. Then if you say at the end, if your counter is greater than or equal to 1, then we can say the element is found, right? Right? If your counter is 0, then say that there is no such element. So anyone has any question about the linear search algorithm? This is the algorithm, okay? This is pretty straightforward, but still anyone has any question? Is everyone okay?
Are we gonna see this on like Java next?
All three
Or
languages.
C?
We will see that.
Okay. Yeah.
We will see that this is our pseudocode, right? We will see this implementation in all three languages. My basic concept is that if you understand this algorithm,
Right.
you should be able to implement it in all at this point in all three languages, right? So because we know how to create a list, right? How to declare a variable, and we know how to do a for loop, right? And we
Right.
know how to use a if loop, right? Then it's nothing new, right?
Right.
Okay, so now let us try. Let us try. You see that this is code snippet. That means it is not a complete code yet. A part of his code, okay? So initially we are saying Boolean variable is found, we need to put false. Because we need to put false. If you say true, then it may not work. This program will not. You need to do alternative. So initially we say you will assume that is not item is not found. But if is a match, that if it is found, then we will make that is found equal to true. So here I say that is so we will go all the way to the last element, right? How do I go to the last element? I'm sorry. How do I go? What happened? Why my cursor does not work? Okay. So it will go to the last element, right? So this is in Java, but and also the little difference is length. L is in lowercase in Java, and C#, L is in uppercase. Okay. So this is straightforward, like, okay. So there is no more difference, okay. So one thing is that in C# we use bool keyword, and in Java we use boolean. Okay. And also C in C++, in C# and C++ we use bool keyword. Okay, and in C++ there is no length, it is called size. Maybe you need to figure out how to find the size. Okay, so these are the code snippet. Now let us go. So has anyone any question? Okay. So I like this is the foundation of searching algorithm. This searching and sorting algorithm. This week will be foundation of your higher level courses, like your algorithm course. Whenever you take your major in computer science or software engineering, so if you do more study, then we must need clear concept about this foundation knowledge. Okay, this is the only course you will be taught this. In other courses, it will be assumed that you know this. Okay, so there is no way that you will skip this. Okay. So if I go to my Replit account and say search, okay. So if I do linear search with C++, okay, in two-dimensional array, actually search in okay. So linear search example 1, I have in C#. Okay. Let us see this program. What do I have this? Okay. So this program, although this program, going through this program, it has it has use of method, okay, that we will discuss next week. But for now, remember that how do we say this is know that this is a method? Whenever you see a parenthesis, a pair of parentheses,
You're muted, Professor.
okay, now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I don't know, someone who muted me. Okay. I sent this invitation early at the beginning of this semester. Still, some people are sending me invitation request. That means they have still pending request. They did not accept my invitation. Maybe they did not see that the announcement. Okay. So if I search for to linear search, I have linear search. Okay, example 1. Okay. Okay, so if you do not understand this part is okay for now, okay, but try to understand, this should be fine. So this is a method. So how do I know that this is an array? In our last lecture I discussed that this is by looking this square bracket, we know that this int array is an array, right? How do I know that this is an array? So it has a type, with type it has a square bracket, right? So you may have space in between, but it is okay. Okay, and this target int, it is a normal variable. So what is the difference between the declaration in array and a normal variable? You understand from this line? Everybody understand this line? Whenever with type you have a square bracket, that means this is an array. No matter what is the name I give, okay, I can give any name. So in here it is easy that I have array in my name, right? But in many cases you may not see the name is word array. For instance, in our slide we say that here say G. So by looking G, you cannot see, you cannot tell that whether it is a variable or a string or a Boolean type or an array, right? But how do we know that this is an array? Obviously by looking in program code, by looking this square bracket. So everybody understand this? Okay, so now I have int array is an array of integer type. So this is the, I don't need to say my size over here. So it can be, we can, this program works with any size of array. Okay, and I have a target variable integer type. Since my array is an integer type array, so my target variable should be integer type, otherwise it will not work. So we know that an array contains only similar type, right? Specific type. So this integer array will hold only integer type data. It cannot hold character data like your name or address or something. Okay. So now there are two ways. For instance, we can say count integer type equal to 0, or we can say flag equal to false, or you can use a combination of both. Okay, so for I equal to 0, 0, all index starts from 0. You must start from 0, and then I less than int array dot length. Length is a built-in function in built-in property in C#. Okay, so by using this length like this way, so then you are flexible that you can use any size of array. So it will automatically detect a length. Okay, so has anyone any question about this for loop? Is good, right? Then if we say if, this is the checking, if int array I equal to target, that is if my array element is my targeted equal to my targeted value, then we say flag equal to true. Initially it was flag equal to false, right? We say flag equal to true, and we increase count. That means count was initially 0, now we are increasing count by 1. That means we found 1 time. Okay. Now this part is an additional part. For instance, this part is an additional part. So that means if flag, in your program you will see like this kind of code, line number 14. In your program you will see this kind of code. So that means, it means if flag equal true, like this, if flag equal true. Okay. So you see that if flag, that means if flag equal to true. Okay, then what you will say? If flag equal to true, that means my number, targeted number is found many times, count times, else my number is not found. Okay, so this is the simple code of a linear search algorithm. Now check, do you understand this? The concept is here is simple, like here, this is the main part. Okay, since I used a method that we will discuss in the 2 weeks later, then we say that I use additional parts so I can see my output in a good way. So this is a find a number. So now this is a method I in class, my class, and then in my main method, you see that this start here, this method start in line number 5 and it ends in line number 19. Okay, so these are other methods. So for now, forget about these. Okay, forget about find max and find min, these two, but we jump into main method. So in the main method, it says as usual, hello world. It's needed, it's not needed, but we have my data. This is another array. So my data is an array. What is the value of this? Initialized by, these are the elements. Okay, these are their elements. So C# people, look at this code and try to practice it. Okay, so how the array is declared and initialized in one statement. And then, for instance, I am calling the find a number method. What is my find a number method? This is my find a number method, and it takes 2 arguments. One is my data, another is 7. Because I'm pushing over here, I'm providing my data and 7. That means I am providing an array over here, so instead of this place. Okay, I'm providing, so my, whenever this method is declared with 2 arguments or parameters. We say whenever we declare some variable within the parentheses of a method, then we call these are arguments. So it takes 2 arguments. One is array type and another is integer type, right? So then we must provide, when we call that method, we must provide an array. My array is my data is an array and a target value 7. Okay. For now, let us see only output up to this. We don't need to be easy. Okay, don't look at here, only up to this. So if I run this program, so up to this, we will see that it said that my number 7 is found 2 times. Is 7 here 2 times? Okay, so now if I check for 7 is 70 instead of 7, what should be my output? So if I look for 70, so then in my program I said if my number is not found, then we will say the number 70 is not found, right? We will get this. If I run this, so it says my number 70 is not found. So it will work for any array of integer type and any target value of integer type. Okay, so for instance, if we look for -3, what should we get here? If we search for -3, so -3 is found one time, right? So -3, my number is found one time. Okay. So now, everybody understand this code? How to find a number? Has anyone any question? Okay. Today, I will give you some homework. Okay. Ultimately, by next week, we will learn all of these 5 algorithms: linear search, binary search, and these 2 searching algorithm and 3 sorting algorithms. So when you go home, please try to read this slide ahead of me. And if you are smart enough, then you will see I have my programs written and whole lecture in previous semester's video. If you are smart enough, then you can find my videos in my YouTube channel, from my YouTube channel, right? Then you can watch this, or at least try to go through these slides for a few minutes, okay? Then it will be easy for me to go through, and then I will give you some in-class activities. I will ask you to do this, okay? So because I like you to practice this, okay? Because my programs are all here. It will not help you if I practice programming and I go to demo programs and whatever I do. It will not help you much, but it will help you very, very, very much if you practice yourself. Okay, so anyone any question about find a number? So this is called linear search algorithm. That why it is called linear search algorithm? Because we are linearly, that means sequentially, moving through the array, starting from the beginning, one after another. Sequentially, this is why it is called a serial. Okay, linearly, not randomly. Okay, randomly means you could go on after another, and finally, at the end, you may find a variable, target variable or not, but that is not an efficient way. Okay, so here instead of if flag, we could use if count greater or equal to 1, right? Another way if count greater or equal to 1, because we say that count initially 0, and if we found, then count, we are increasing count, right? So instead of flag, if flag over here, we could use if count greater or equal to 1. That is an alternative way. So you will see that there are different implementation of linear search algorithm. Okay, one with flag, Boolean type flag variable, another with integer type counter variable. You may use another type. These are the flag. Also here we say this is counter or flag. Okay, so if you understand these, then how to find a max number, max element. Okay, so here, so the max, find the max number, it will take again only one element. Just it will take the array as an argument. Okay, what you will do, initially we will put max equal to the first element. We will think that my first element is the max element. It may not be happen, but what you will do, we will check, for instance, for I equal to 1, for instance, for the first element we got max, right? We need to go to the remaining elements. For instance, here, if this is my array, it contains 3, 7, 4, -2, 0, 1, 5. These are the random array, okay? So I want to find the maximum element from this array. What I will do, initially I will think that this is my max. Initially this is my max, I will think, okay? So then what we will do, I will search from this has index 0, right? And this has index 1, and this has index 2, this has index 3, and it has 4, and it has 5, and it has 6. So there are 7 elements, right? So what we will do, so we will go through in like this length. So it will automatically find 7 over here. So then we'll say if, so my int array I, so give attention over here, we do not say 1 over here. So but we said 1, int I equal to 1, but here we said my array I with index I. Because first time I will be here, second times I will be here, third times I will be 3, fourth time next time I will be 4, and the last time I will be 6, right? So we are using this variable over here, okay? So but we are starting this loop from 1, from this part. We are looping through this part, but because initially we put max equal to 3, for instance here. So int array 0 will be 3, right? Initially. So initially we will think that okay, my maximum value is 3, whatever I got first time. But it will check, it will check if the next element, for instance, this is 1, int array I, that means 1, is greater than your 3, right? In that case, 7 is greater than 3, right? So then I will think that, okay, so I will change my max, I will update my max equal to 7. Then what will go? We will go, my max will be 7 here. My max will be 7 here. Then what we will do? I will check for the next element, right? Next element 4 is not greater than 7, right? So then still I will do nothing. Yeah. Okay. So then I will go to the another element. It's -2 is not greater than 7. So still 7 is my max. And then I will go all through the elements. And since 7 is the max I found, still I need to go to all the way end before I declare that 7 is the maximum. Has anyone any question? Okay, I do have only few minutes, so I don't have time to go through this program in other languages, right, Java and yes. Okay, so that's a good question, but we will discuss this when we discuss method. Okay, we will discuss method. When we will discuss method 2 weeks later, I will discuss it. Okay, but for now, memorize this, okay, and use it. Because many things we are from the beginning, we said these are abstract to us, right? So from the very beginning thing, we are using public static void, right? Still, you do not know this meaning, right? We have to wait 2 more weeks to understand this clearly. Okay, that's a good question. Okay, here in this one. So if you want to find the minimum value of your array, okay, so what you will do, same thing. Okay, so initially you will assume that your first value is your minimum value. Okay, you will assume that this is your minimum value. Okay, but if you go through loop the array, if you find another value, remaining value, any of the value less than your initial minimum value, then you will update your minimum value, right? So for the mean, you have to change this sign. You see that? Only this sign. When you find minimum value, you use to less than sign. And if you want to find the maximum value, just you will use the greater than sign. Everything is same, right? So if you understand one algorithm, how to find the max, you should understand how to find the minimum value, right? So my code is here in C. This is C#, and if you are smart enough, my code also available in Java also. So like if you do Google search like this, it should be instead of C#, if you want Java. My code is also in Java. Okay, my code is also in Java here, and if you do instead of Java, if you do C++,